Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Phil, also known as Get a Job, and today we're going to be talking about and making dirty mixers for analog glitch visuals. To start off, let's talk about what exactly a dirty mixer is. Basically, it's a knob between two analog video sources going into a single analog video output, and the way that it does this is very distorted, very glitchy, very unclean. If you had something like this Roland, while you're fading between two sources, it's able to stabilize them with what we call a time-based corrector. It's basically able to sync up the two sources so that it displays a clean, undistorted image. On the flip side, a dirty mixer doesn't have that time-based corrector, so you're just taking each video signal and fading between the two, which ultimately mashes the signal and the sync waves together into the video output. Because of this mashing of the signal, they only display properly directly to a CRT. If you were to use an RCA to HDMI adapter or an RCA to 3.5mm AV jack to either a projector or your TV at home, it would either blue screen, black screen, or do something. It just would not properly display the glitches the way that you want them to show up. That being said, if you want to display them through a projector on your LCD screen or whatever TV you have at home, you can route the dirty mixer through a time-based corrector and then send that to your TV. The time-based will stabilize the glitches at that point. They will come out slightly different than if you had used a CRT, but I just find that's a fun way to get them projected for shows and whatnot. Now that we've talked about dirty mixers and what they are, how they work, I wanted to talk about what components you'll be needing to build one of these for yourself. So it goes without saying, but you'll need some kind of enclosure or box to install your components and wire inside of. It can literally be anything from an old shoebox to some thrifted container you got last week. Next, you'll be needing some potentiometers. You really only need one per dirty mixer, but I find having a few extra on hand is never a bad idea. Values should be between 1 to 2K, any higher than that, and I find the range at which the dirty mixing happens in the middle becomes a bit too narrow for my liking. You'll be needing some toggle switches. I typically use on switches. That's just a 2-position, 3-pin switch. That just gives me 2 sources per input for my potentiometer. You'll also be needing some RCA jacks. You don't need these. There is a method that I've found to make them with simply chopped and stripped back RCA cables, but I prefer using RCA jacks myself. And last but not least, you will need a drill to make the holes for your components inside your enclosure. If you're using something like a shoebox, you can just poke a hole through that with a pair of scissors or something. However, I think it goes without saying, but a cardboard enclosure will deteriorate much faster than a plastic or wooden enclosure, but they get the job done. So if that's all you have lying around, by all means. I think that covers it for components, so without further ado, let's get into this project. So for this project, I decided to go ahead and use a cardboard box. That's all I had lying around in the house, so I made it work. Started off by poking my holes through the case and installed my components. Beautiful job. Next, I went ahead and cut all my wires. From each of my inputs, I have 2 wires, one going to each switch. That way I can toggle between the 2 on each input. Each switch gets sent to my potentiometer. My potentiometer then goes to the output. Don't forget to tin your wires and your components, by the way. It makes the process considerably easier. I've had several of these snap because I wasn't thinking and went ahead soldering without tinning anything. Also, don't forget to connect those grounds on each of your RCAs, both your inputs and your output. Alright, everything is soldered. You can see all those wires going everywhere. You can probably make yours a bit neater than mine, but this works. Now testing it out, you can see I've got two inputs. One's coming from a VHS camera, the other one's coming from my laptop going through an HDMI to RCA converter. And then I have the output just going to my CRT TV. When I flip the switch, the sources change. You can see as I turn the knob, you get some glitchy distortion happening. Toggling the switches can cause some pretty cool glitches as well. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. Drop a like down below if you did. Catch y'all in the next one. Peace.